Greetings and salutations. You are watching Pop Goes VR, episode number 4? Yeah, 4. Pop Goes VR is a show about virtual reality in virtual reality, a VR180. So watch it on your VR headset for maximum enjoyment.
Absolutely.
My name is Danthol. I'm here with my co-host, Ryan. How's it going, Ryan?
Not too bad. You can just call me the interrupter. I'm just going to start doing that from now on, just cutting you off when you're in mid-sentence. That's the way to do it. I'm doing good, man. Life is always hectic. The world around us is falling apart, but we're going to keep going forward. So I'm doing all right, man. How about yourself?
I'm well. You reminded me of one of my favorite jokes. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Jesse, the interrupting cow.
Jesse, the interrupting cow. Who?
Moo!
You missed it. You did it too late.
No, we have a delay. It's okay. I did it right, the
Oh.
delay. And I can edit and I make it look like we're in time there.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's funny. We have a little bit of delay. I'm here in the United States and Ryan is there in Canada.
It's so cold
how's
up
things
here.
going in Canada? It's not cold here.
It's like 25
100
degrees Celsius.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot here. I'm in Phoenix. It's hot. It's hot and everything's burning up, including, people and governments and economies and coronavirus. Yes, 2020. This is great. So this is part 2. It's episode 4, part 2 of our review of Amazon's Upload. If you haven't seen 1 through 5, go watch 1 through 5 review and then come back here and watch this and go back. It doesn't matter either way. Ryan and I both watched Upload, and we're going to talk about the final episodes 5 through 10. Tell me what you thought about episode 5 through 10. What are your overall impressions of everything, Ryan?
I liked it. If you guys watched the first part of this 1 through 5, I kind of laid back in the spoilers. This episode, you're watching the last half of the series, there's going to be spoilers here. So heads up, there will be spoilers as far as the first few episodes go. I like the show. This show steadily got better with almost every episode. Like I said, it was always lighthearted. There was always this very jovialness to everything. But the undercurrents as the main story progresses, as far as the main character and his death, as it looks more and more like he may have been murdered, definitely starts to develop, and I really kind of enjoyed that storyline. Nora, the main character is Angel, his handler. She gets to become more of her own here and becomes more of her own character than just like his love interest, which I also enjoyed. A lot more real world stuff as well. Which, like I said, it's just the show just kind of developed nicely. I enjoyed the show all the way to the to be continued season finale, but I thought it was pretty damn good. The tech is ever evolving. They keep finding new ways to make new jokes about the technology. There's an episode there where the system has a crash thanks to I won't ruin that, but the system has a crash. And all of a sudden, everyone's been digitized into really horrible looking Minecraft characters. But there's a human character with that guy, so he's very taken aback by the digital world suddenly looking very, very digital, which I thought was pretty cute. Like I said, overall, it's very lighthearted, and I really appreciated just the clever writing, clever jokes. It's really just a fun show centered around VR, and I totally dug it.
Excellent. We'll do something neat for the show here. I forgot, when we record the episode, I have this air conditioner unit over here. I'll show you. You can't see it. You can't see it, but everybody else can see it. It's my air conditioner, and I have it hooked up through a little pipe thing, and it goes, this is a fireplace right here, and I have it cardboarded up, and the air conditioner blows the hot air through the fireplace, and I didn't turn it off before the show, so I'm going to turn it off now. So the first part of the episode, you'll have to listen to my air conditioner. I'm sorry, it's hot here in Arizona. Where it's not hot or cold or anything like that. Maybe it is. I guess it is hot and cold in virtual reality in the Upload series here. We catch up with Nathan Brown and his girlfriend Ingrid and everybody else. The intrigue definitely comes in the last 5 episodes of it, to where we show that Nathan Brown was a hacker. He wrote code for a new version of the digital afterlife called Freond, which is a brand new set of servers of things. But when you get uploaded there, you have more freedom to create. You can create and you can work and you can create your own environment, and you don't, and it doesn't have all of the costs associated with the other digital afterlives like Horizon. That's the thing. That's the main kind of thing about the upload world is only the ultra rich can really afford to go into the digital afterlife. All the billionaires in this series. We have an episode. A character is David Choke instead of Coke, one of the Koch brothers. So he's like super crazy rich, and he lives in the Horizon Hotel with the Lakeview Estates there with Nathan. And it's interesting the kind of themes that they have in there. The other people that are in the afterlife, the uploads. We have like a woman who's in black and white because when her avatar was created from a picture of her when she was younger, which was a black and white picture. Which once again kind of gets to this. This is only the year 2033 that this is happening. So,
I'm assuming she was a frozen head. I'm assuming she was one of those weirdos that had her head frozen, like ages ago, like cryogenically frozen. And that's how they got her into there. That's my theory, because like her character makes no sense otherwise. Because like, how could she be that young and use a picture from 100 years ago? We've had colored pictures for 80 years.
Yeah, so with her, she died in her 90s, and then she was digitally uploaded, and they used the black and white picture, and that's why couldn't they make her color? I understand. That's the thing. We talked about it in our other episode. You have to suspend disbelief. You have to be like, okay, fine. I'll just believe that that's the technology that they have now. Ooh, I'm sweaty in here because I turned off the air conditioner. Yeah. Anyways, a bunch of interesting cast of characters that they have in there, but it ends up that there's more intrigue that Nathan was in fact murdered. Dun dun dun! He was killed. He because of his programming, his thing for Freon was going to destroy a $6 billion industry, which the David Choke character, the old man character, it's like, oh, you were murdered, ha ha ha. And it ends up that's actually the case, that it looks like he was murdered. So these episodes here, they're kind of following up and seeing what's going on. And that's where the intrigue really builds up. And with a cliffhanger ending and season 2. They are renewed for season 2. I'm looking forward to it. I just hope they respect the technology a little bit more the next time around. Let's do like high point, low point of those, and any kind of things that we wanted to talk about in particular about it itself. What's your high point and low point for episodes 5 through 10?
I'll start with my low point here. My low point has to be the character of Ingrid, his real life girlfriend. I didn't think they really knew what to do with her. At the beginning, she's like a super ritzy, prissy, like Paris Hilton type girl, and like super shallow. The funeral episode I mentioned last episode, where she basically ignores him the whole funeral because it's all about her and her show. Her character goes up and down. Like, is she part of the murder? Is she not part of the murder? Is she a good girlfriend? Is she not a good girlfriend? They kind of bounce back and forth. Never really kind of like lock in as to like what her character is. Like they make her shallow, then they give her a bit of depth. Like when she has the sleepover episode with Nathan's cousin, and so you see a bit of heart there, a bit of character to her. Like, oh, maybe there's more to this character than you think. But then the next episode, she's right back to being superficial and shallow. And I feel like that character is just totally, I don't know, misused or underused. It's just not a good character, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I said, just all of it. It wasn't like she didn't seem like a real human being. Everyone else in the show, even like some of the AI, seems more authentic than her character. And her whole family is kind of similar. So I guess that's what they're going for. They're the 1%ers. I just didn't think that landed very well at all. And then the high point would have to be the final episode, actually, without spoiling too much. We've already established he's been murdered, but basically there's someone had to murder him, and so there's like an assassin who kind of shows up here, and a super like what's his name, Steve Buscemi looking assassin who I had a really hard time taking seriously as a as an assassin. But the whole last episode's very much more all the dramas coming together. Does he remember his memories because he had his brain like reset? So there's a quick question there at the beginning if he does or doesn't. Then of course someone's trying to now murder everyone around Nathan in the real life. This assassin guy who dies in absolutely hilarious death. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And even when he's going to, spoiler here, he goes to try to kill Nora. That's who we're talking about. And he goes and grabs that whisk by accident instead of the knife.
Yeah.
Once again, I cracked up. I was like, is it like, am I supposed to take this guy seriously or not seriously? It's weird. Just some of the jokes that should work just didn't quite, because I was like, oh, this guy's kind of a doofus. But then he's just straight up Terminator murderer after that. I was like, okay, I'm taking him seriously. Just a really weird like casting type. But no, like I said, the show ends on not so much a cliffhanger, but is a pretty good to be continued note. And as I'm looking forward to, hopefully the show got a following and a bigger budget, just so they can kind of expand upon the ideas they touched on. But really, the first season ends on a really positive, really entertaining note, and that's always good for a show when it ends solid. So that's my high and low. How about yourself?
So my high and low of it, I would say the low would be him in becoming to 2 gig status. That's where 2 gigs, where you can only process 2 gigs is like you normally a memory. Like you have 2 gigabytes of RAM, or you have 2 gigabytes of data, but they're kind of using this as 2 gigabytes of processing. And that's the thing, is you don't measure processing in megabytes or gigabytes. You do it in operations, the amount of operations that you're allowed to do, how much processor time that you're buying. That's what so that's the kind of part where the 2 gig was kind of a weird thing. Like, why would somebody go and get this like big expensive, what I would assume to be an expensive thing of zapping your head off and freezing your body to maybe come back in the afterlife, but you have to basically just sit in this digital afterlife where you can't even read Harry Potter books. It's like, okay, so that's the thing. You have to buy it. It's like this weird little prison kind of thing, and I didn't like the way that kind of worked. It just didn't make sense to me. The high point for me of it is when he gets this gift that she gives him, which is a digital gift. It's not a physical thing, but it's like this little thing that you could take and you tap it on an object or whatever, and you can expose the code of that object and manipulate the code for the object. So now all of a sudden he's this super hacker guy who can, change the color of his end table, and also in the real world override an elevator to shake an elevator up and down to kill somebody. That's some pretty wicked technology. I mean, he's able to straight up murder people from 2 gig status by just having this little thing that he used. I would think, that would be, it's kind of like a throwaway thing. Oh, like, yeah, he's not going to get in trouble or anything like that. They're not going to do some kind of investigation on that. But they didn't investigate his car being crashed sufficiently, or his cousin's car driving off of the pier for apparently
no
because it was hacked.
There was no at least they followed up his death with like the idea that like basically his death is being swept under the rug. And they kind of showed the aftermath there, because they showed Nora, his cousin, who's hilarious. You can talk about her in a second. And she's investigating his death, and at least at her demise, she ends up being driven off the dock in the exact same way he died almost. And then, but there's no follow up. There's one throwaway line. It was like, have you heard from cousin Nora? No. Huh, that's weird. And then they never mention her again for the next 4 episodes, which I thought was just bizarre.
Nora's his girlfriend. His cousin is somebody else.
Oh, his cousin. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah. Either way, I couldn't let that one go on.
No, that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, he has this little thing now he can tap and hack and everything like that. And I'm like, ooh, that is a big, major thing for an upload to have, and it's way too powerful of a thing. But then he just like, yeah, I'm gonna go into I'll stay in 2 gig status. Like, he couldn't hack a bank account and give himself a bunch of money. He couldn't hack and give himself a bunch of hotel bucks to go spend on things and everything like that. It was a weird way they used it, but I liked that they brought him as a elite hacksaw that was now able to control his own destiny and the destiny of others, just with his hacking skills. So I think that might, if they exploit that a little bit more in season two, I'm going to be way happier about things like that, because at least they'll be treating the technology a little bit better, and you get to see what happens in like the what do they call it, free, not Freetopia, Freon, whatever their we have notes here. I can take a look and see. Can you remember the name of their universe that happens?
Freon?
That they're Freon. There we go. It was is simply that. I thought Freon. I get to see more of that. I love all of the VR aspects. I thought it was goofy that, basically they were using like Gear VR headsets. They're like, "Oh, Nathan, there you are, and I'm kissing you, more, more, more," kind of thing, with just like the old looking technologies. I wish they would have had better VR headsets.
Well, she
So
did.
they
I mean,
did have,
when she like her workplace had like cool, sexy little glasses, but then her
right.
home she had bulky headsets. So I think there's like a commercial and consumer kind of aspect to this thing as well. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, the ones she had
Um,
were clearly, they look more like AR
yeah.
goggles than they did anything else.
And Fran.
And
Fran was the cousin's name, by the way.
cousin Fran. That's right.
And yeah, you're right. The total, I didn't really think about too much about that. His little editing tool there, that little hacker tool. But that's a total MacGuffin. That was a total just way to just basically like get plot point to plot point, big chase scene. How do we have him help?
Yeah.
We just give him this magical pen that does everything. And you're right. Like
Yeah.
what he did with that pen implies he can basically do anything. And
Right.
yeah, now it feels totally underused. And obviously. Something they really established with the whole series was they talk about how much of like a programmer and a hacker he was a programmer. He's a really skilled programmer, but they never really showed that until that final episode where he's now hacking into stuff. Which I
Right.
thought was also kind of weird that they really, like as this guy who's now stuck in this digital realm, he really doesn't do anything with his knowledge. He's kind of useless up until he gets that magical little pen.
Yeah, but he also doesn't remember at hack, and he doesn't remember all of that stuff before the reset. There's the server reset that he stayed awake for that returned his memories, and that's when he got smart again. So I think that was the
Oh.
plot point, is all of a sudden he remembers he was kind of a douchey, which I think there's something else that's going to explain in season two, that he wasn't douchey after all, that they didn't show the rest of the conversation that was there. They only showed part of the conversation. And so I'm sure they'll show the other half, another recovered memory. Oh, we've discovered a new core memory, and kind of talk about that. I like that VR is now part of pop culture in new series and stuff like that. We're seeing it more and more and more. So I love that they made this show. This is more like The Good Place, if you've ever seen that. I haven't seen that. People say it's very similar. So, it's a TV series that's made for the masses to make it easy for them to watch without overwhelming them with tech stuff like I want. So, not I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to season two. I have gripes because I'm a geek and this is my thing, and I want it to be the way I want it instead of the way they want it. But the way they want it's fine. What's your overall impressions of this?
I totally agree with you. Like I said, I'm a bit more of a techie guy. Obviously, I love VR, so I can definitely. The second something doesn't jive with what I know of VR, it's like like the fact they can make out and that's cool, but then she has to put gloves on to touch him. And it's weird, like just these little disparities in the show. That, like I said, if you didn't know, if you weren't critical like we were, you wouldn't notice it, which I think is great because I think even if you didn't care about VR as a technology, as just an average watcher, the show is clever and funny and entertaining. Lots of light-hearted comedy. It's adult humor as well. Overall, it's just a solid, good package. Whether you love VR and tech or you don't. So if you boys out there want to watch your girlfriend or watch it with your girlfriends or vice versa, if that relationship's more techie on the girlfriend side, anyone should really kind of pull a lot out of this. And I really think this is actually a really good show, and I'm really looking forward to season two. Did I say really enough times there? I think I said really enough times.
Okay, well, thank you very much for watching episode number 4 of Pop Goes VR. Where do we find out more about you, Ryan?
I'm the VR Grid. You can find my channel on YouTube, thevrgrid.com as well. On social media, the VR Grid. You can't miss me. Hit me up if you want to ask me anything. I'm down to talk about VR all the time. Danthol, yourself, where can we find you?
You can go to watchinvr.com. That has a link to all of the YouTube videos that I do with the cameras, the other VR180 videos, a whole bunch of stuff on there. That's fun. Please, very much, once you take off your headset and like and subscribe, I guess you can click on the bell thing. We're going to try our absolute best to put out an episode every week to keep this consistent, to keep a reason for you coming back talking about VR stuff. Tell us what you want us to talk about. Tell us about your favorite TV show, book, movie, pop culture in general, anything that related to VR. At the bottom there, you have a link where you can go to Amazon and you can buy stuff, and it helps us out. There's a Patreon there as well. Help us get the show. We need new cameras. We need new recording equipment. We need to improve our studios. We want to make the show big, and we want to make it really entertaining for you and get some celebrities and everything else on here too. So help us out, because we're like the only ones doing this kind of stuff. Thank you very much for watching episode 4 of Pop Goes VR. Have a good one.
Later, all.